Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The endless plains of Cybertron stretched out before him, a wasteland of shattered metal and desolation. Megatron strode through the ruins of what had once been the proud city of Kaman, his optics scanning the decaying remnants of an ancient world. The winds that howled through the rusted towers carried the voices of Cybertronians long gone, whispers of a time when their civilization had reigned supreme. But all of that had crumbled away, leaving behind only dust and shadow. Yet amidst the ruins, Megatron had found something more, a promise of unimaginable power. His mighty hand reached down and grasped the object he had sought for so long, the Dark Matrix. Encased in layers of dust and debris, the artifact pulsed faintly, a dark and malevolent energy swirling within. It was cold to the touch, an eerie contrast to the oppressive heat of Cybertron's dying sun. He held it up, gazing into the abyssal depths of the Matrix. The legends were true. The Dark Matrix had the power to absorb all light, to cast entire worlds into eternal darkness. With this, Megatron could finally bend the universe to his will. He imagined stars blinking out one by one as he ascended to his rightful place as ruler of all creation. The age of the Decepticons begins anew, he murmured, his voice a low growl that echoed in the silence of the ruin. Without hesitation, he activated his comlink soundwave. Prepare the base. I am returning with the key to our victory. As Megatron's words traveled across the Decepticon frequencies far away on Earth, a different transmission was intercepted. Bumblebee stood in the command center of Audiobook headquarters, his yellow armor gleaming under the light. He had grown from a scout into a leader, but the weight of responsibility still sat heavily on his shoulder. When he saw the transmission on the screen, his spark clenched. The Decepticons had found the Dark Matrix. This is worse than anything we've faced before, Bumblebee said, his voice tight with concern. If Megatron activates the Matrix, it could spell the end of Earth and more. Standing next to him frowned. Her optics darkened as she studied the data. The Matrix absorbs all light. If Megatron uses it, he could plunge entire planets into darkness, one after another. No light, no energy. Everything would die. Bumblebee nodded, his mind racing. We have to stop him before he even gets the chance to use it. Gather the team. We need to move fast. Within minutes, the Autobots assembled in the war room, Archie's Ironhide, Wheeljack, and a handful of others. They all knew what was at stake, and the urgency in Bumblebee's tone left no room for doubt. We've intercepted Megatron South's coordinates, Bumblebee began. He saw on his way back to his stronghold on the Dark Planet, near the remains of Cybertron. It's heavily fortified, and the Decepticons have been building their forces there for years. Getting in one be easy, but we have no choice. Wheeljack leaned forward, his optics bright with determination. I've been working on a device that could disrupt the Matrix's ability to absorb light. It won't stop it permanently, but it should give us a window to destroy it. That's our best shot, Bumblebee agreed. We'll now split into two teams. RC Ironhide, you'll lead the first team and create a diversion. Engage the Decepticons head-on and keep them busy. The second team, led by me, will infiltrate the base and disable the Matrix before Megatron can use it. Ironhide grunted in approval. I like it. Hit 'em hard and fast. They won. To know what hit 'em. Rashi's eyes flickered with resolve. We will give you the opening you need, Bumblebee. But we were only going to get one shot at this. We can't afford any mistake. Bumblebee felt the weight of her words. As leader, every decision rested on him. If they failed, Earth and possibly the universe would pay the price. Let's make it count, he said. Autobots, roll out. The Dark Planet loomed ahead, a desolate and hostile world on the outskirts of the galaxy. It was once a barren moon, but Megatron had transformed it into a Decepticon stronghold, its surface dotted with towering fortifications and weapon systems capable of repelling any assault. The base itself was a monolith of blackened steel, rising from the surface like a dark cathedral to war and destruction. The Autobot ship, cloaked and running silent, approached the planet's atmosphere. From the cockpit, Bumblebee could see the Decepticon forces patrolling the skies and ground. This was no ordinary outpost. It was a fortress, designed to protect something precious, and now Bumblebee knew exactly what that was. Just get ready, Bumblebee said into his comms. We re-entering the danger zone. The ship's engines hummed as it made its descent, Arceus and Ironhide sat across from Bumblebee, both preparing for what was to come. Arceus checked her weapons, a pair of energy blades, while Ironhide locked and loaded his heavy blaster. "You think Megatron sends expecting us?" Ironhide asked, his voice a low rumble. "I'd be surprised if he wasn't," Arceus replied, "but we were not here for him. We weren't here for the Matrix. Megatron sounds just the obstacle in our way." Bumblebee glanced at his team. "Stay sharp. This mission is about precision. Our side Ironhide, once we were on the ground, you start your attack, keep them distracted, and give us the time we need." The ship shuddered as it broke through the atmosphere, and the dark, jagged landscape of the dark planet filled their view. They were close, now close to the moment where everything would be decided. As they neared the base, the Autobots split into their assigned team. Arcee and Ironhide led their squad to the planet's surface, moving stealthily toward the Decepticon patrol. The plan was simple: create chaos, draw out Megatron's forces, and keep them occupied long enough for Bumblebee and his infiltration team to slip inside. Bumblebee's other group, including Wheeljack and a few others, moved through a series of subterranean tunnels beneath the base. These tunnels had been used in the construction of the stronghold, and now they provided the perfect route for the Autobots to sneak in unnoticed. "Wheeljack, how much time do you need to get that device ready?" Bumblebee whispered as they crawled through a narrow passage. "Not long," Wheeljack replied, his voice filled with nervous energy. "Just get me close to the Matrix, and I'll do the rest." The tunnels were dark and cramped, and every step felt like they were walking into a trap. But Bumblebee kept moving, focused on the mission. The further they went, the more the air seemed to grow heavy, as if the Matrix itself was sapping the light and hope from the world around them. Suddenly, the commas crackled to life. "We re-engaged the Decepticons Arceus." Voice came through, punctuated by the sound of blaster fire. "They re-falling for it. We redrawing their forces away from the base." "Good work," R2 Bumblebee responded. "Keep them busy. We're almost there." The team continued their advance, slipping through the tunnels until they reached an access point that led into the heart of Megatron's base. As they climbed through the vent system, they could see the sprawling interior of the stronghold. Decepticon guards patrolled the corridors, but the main forces had been drawn to the battle outside. "Looks like Arcee's doing her job," Bumblebee muttered as they moved quietly through the vents. "Let's move." Wheeljack guided them to a maintenance hatch that opened directly into the command center, where Megatron was preparing the Matrix for activation. Bumblebee's optics narrowed as he saw the dark artifact hovering above a console, its energy swirling ominously. Megatron stood nearby, his hulking form radiating power and menace. At his side were his elite lieutenants, waiting for the moment when the Dark Matrix would unleash its terrible power. "This is it," Bumblebee whispered. "Wheeljack, get ready." They dropped from the vent, landing silently behind a row of consoles. Bumblebee signaled to Wheeljack to move into position, but just as they began to advance, the Matrix pulsed violently, as if sensing their presence. Megatron's optics flared as he turned to face them, a cruel smile spreading across his face. Bumblebee, I was wondering when you'd show up." Bumblebee didn't waste time with words. He charged forward, his blaster raised, firing a series of rapid shots at Megatron. The Decepticon leader dodged with surprising speed for his size, his own weapon already in hand. The room erupted into chaos as the two forces clashed. Bumblebee darted around the consoles, firing at Megatron, while Wheeljack worked frantically to deploy his device. Megatron's cannon blasted a chunk of metal off the wall behind Bumblebee as he dove behind a console. Sparks flew, and the air was thick with the smell of scorched circuitry. Bumblebee gritted his teeth, quickly assessing the situation. Wheeljack was still scrambling to set up his device, sweat pouring from his faceplate as he worked under the pressure of their dire circumstances. "You cannot stop what's coming, Bumblebee." Tarmy and Megatron's voice boomed over the clash of metal and weapon. "The Dark Matrix will consume all light, all life starting with you." Bumblebee wasn't one to rise to Megatron's sentence. He ducked out from behind cover, firing 3 more shots toward the Decepticon leader, each bolt of energy narrowly missing Megatron as he advanced with deadly precision. The whole room felt like it was closing in, the cold energy of the Matrix casting strange shadows across the floor, making every movement feel heavier, slower. It was as if the darkness itself was pulling them toward the abyss. Megatron lunged, swinging a massive fist. Bumblebee leaped back, feeling the impact reverberate through the floor as the Decepticon's blow dented the ground where he'd been standing. The Autobots needed time, just a little more time. Wheeljack, hunched behind a terminal, finally called out, "I am almost there. Just keep him distracted." Bumblebee didn't need to be told twice. With a fluid motion, he launched himself into a rapid series of attacks, zigzagging between cover, unloading his blaster in short, controlled bursts. But Megatron was relentless. With a guttural roar, the Decepticon leader charged, his massive arm transforming into a blade slashing through the air with brutal force. Bumblebee ducked, narrowly avoiding the strike, but the blow sent him tumbling. He rolled with the momentum, landing in a crouch just in time to see Megatron's foot swinging toward him. The impact knocked the wind from him as he was thrown across the room, crashing into a wall. Groaning, Bumblebee pushed himself up, his vision flickering for a moment as he struggled to regain his footing. Megatron's shadow loomed over him, but just as he was about to deliver a killing blow, a blast of energy rocked the chamber. "Arsag, Ironhide, get in here, up." Bumblebee yelled into his comm. The door to the command center exploded inward, and Arceus and Ironhide rushed in, guns blazing. Ironhide's heavy artillery sent Decepticons flying across the room, while Arce moved with grace and speed, her energy blades cutting through Megatron's sense forces with deadly precision. Megatron growled in fury, shifting his attention to the newcomer. "You reeled too late," snarling his fist into the control console. The dark matrix pulsed with power, and the lights in the room dimmed even further, the air thick with oppressive darkness. "Not if I have anything to say about it," Wheeljack shouted. With a final adjustment, he activated the light disruption device. A high-pitched hum filled the room, and the matrix's energy faltered for a brief moment. The shadows that had been consuming the light flickered, and for the first time since entering the room, Bumblebee felt a glimmer of hope. "Now, Bumblebee," Wheeljack called out, his hands shaking as he held the device steady. Finn got a small window. Take out the matrix while that's destabilized." Bumblebee nodded, his optics narrowing in determination. He grabbed his blaster and without hesitation charged toward the matrix, firing at the dark core that hovered above the console. Each shot resonated through the chamber, sparks flying as the unstable energy of the matrix began to overload. But Megatron wasn't going to let it go that easily. With a roar of rage, Megatron lunged for Bumblebee, his massive frame slamming into the smaller Autobot. Bumblebee was knocked off his feet, skidding across the floor as Megatron and Sci-Fest crashed down, narrowly missing him by inches. "You fool," Megatron growled. "You think you can destroy me? I am the future of Cybertron." Bumblebee grunted, dodging another blow, his mind racing. The Matrix was still vulnerable, but he wouldn't get another chance if Megatron kept him pinned. He needed to end this, and fast. Just then, Ironhide tackled Megatron from the side, slamming his full weight into the Decepticon leader and knocking him off balance. Aris was already moving, her energy blades flashing as she struck at Megatron's exposed side, forcing him to retreat. "Now's your chance." Bumblebee Arce shouted over the dun of battle. With a surge of determination, Bumblebee leaped to his feet and sprinted toward the Matrix. He could feel the energy radiating from it, dark and cold, threatening to pull him into its void. But he didn't stop. He reached out, grabbing hold of Wheeljack's device and slammed it into the heart of the Matrix. There was a moment of silence, a single breath, where time seemed to stop. Then with a deafening crack, the dark matrix exploded in a blinding flash of energy. The force of the blast sent everyone in the room flying backward as the dark energy dissipated, leaving only the sound of the matrix death throes echoing in the silence. Bumblebee coughed, his system struggling to reboot after the shockwave. He could barely hear the faint beeping of his internal diagnostics, but when he opened his optics, the room was bathed in light once more. The matrix was gone. "We did it," Bumblebee whispered, pushing himself to his feet. He glanced around the room. Ironhide was getting up, rubbing the side of his head where he hit the wall. Arceus was already helping Wheeljack, who was grinning through the exhaustion. But Megatron was still there, smoke rising from his damaged armor. He struggled to stand, his optics burning with hatred. "This isn't over, Bumblebee," he spat, his voice dripping with venom. "You may have destroyed the Matrix, but you haven't defeated me." Bumblebee squared his shoulders, his blaster still raised. We're not done fighting Megatron, but today you've all lost. Megatron, as optics narrowed, he took a step back, his form shimmering as he activated a long-range teleportation device. Enjoy your victory while it lasts, Autobots, he sneered. I'd be back. In a flash, Megatron was gone, leaving only the wreckage of the command center and the distant rumble of collapsing walls. Bumblebee sighed, lowering his blaster. Let's just get out of here before this place comes down on us. The team moved quickly, making their way out of the base as the walls crumbled around them. The explosions in the distance were a reminder of how close they had come to losing everything. But they had made it. They had stopped the dark matrix, and for now Earth was safe. As they boarded their ship and set a course back to Earth, Bumblebee glanced out the window, watching the stars streak past. He knew the fight wasn't over. Megatron would be back, and the Autobots would be ready. But for now, there was a brief moment of peace, a small victory in a war that never seemed to end. We'll be ready for you, Megatron, Bumblebee whispered to himself as he sat back in his seat. Whatever comes next, we'll be ready.